Welcome to the latest installment of my ongoing series, Why Make It Easy If You Can Make It Complicated? I'm still workshopping the title. This week's episode, I'm making my own face and body cream. Specifically, St. John's wort salve, because buying cosmetics is what the capitalists want you to do. St. John's wort grows wild, basically anywhere there's a patch of dirt and a good amount of sunshine. I've seen them in gardens, parks, forest clearings, by the side of the road, and growing among the rubble on building sites. I'm lucky enough to have it growing in my mother's garden, but if you plan on foraging, please do so sustainably. Also, make sure the flowers you pick have not been exposed to excessive amounts of exhaust fumes, and maybe don't forage on popular dog walking spots. For, obvious reasons. To collect, I wait until the majority of blossoms are open, and then I pull on the little yellow flowers. Sometimes the upper leaves want to come along, and they're welcome, but it's the flower we're after. When taken internally, as a tea for example, St. John's wort is meant to be mood lifting, which is never a bad thing.
Hi. Sorry to interrupt the video. If you're looking into St. John's wort because it's mood lifting, because maybe you're not in a great place, which I know realizes what I was doing, I just wanted to say, I see you. I hope you get help. And if you don't have access to medical help, I've left some resources in the comments below that are available online, and most of them are free. I believe all of them are free. I don't have personal experience with these resources, but I try to see what people say about them, and they've generally had positive reviews. So if you're not in a good place right now, I hope that changes soon. Okay.
As an oil extract, it's calming to irritated skin and slight sunburns. The first step to our salve is to make red oil. For this, we'll need a good 2 handfuls of St. John's wort and some sunflower oil. You can use olive oil if you prefer, but I've noticed a very slight odd scent that sometimes develops, so I usually reach for sunflower. You'll also need a glass jar. You could collect the flowers straight into the jar you plan to use, but I like to transfer it one last time to give insects hiding in the flowers a chance to escape. I'm going to pack the jar somewhat tightly, since I want the resulting oil to be pretty intense. So, once the flowers are all in, I'm filling the gaps with oil, trying to cover all the plant parts. Push any bits that stick out down into the oil, since parts that are in contact with oxygen are at risk of mold. Now put it on a windowsill or anywhere it'll have intense direct sunlight for the majority of the day. The jar will be exposed to sun for about 2 months. Stop by to check on your oil daily, giving it a little shake to further discourage mold growth. Look at that beautiful color. I honest to God did not add any dyes. That's just the power of the sun. Magical. Just magical. I left the jar on the window for the whole 2 months, so now it's time to strain. I found the least messy way to achieve this is with a coffee filter. It gives a very clear oil, plus the filter is compostable. Super easy. Whatever you use to strain, it'll take some time. So make a cup of tea, do some yoga, write the first draft of a novel. You can use the oil as is, for example as a massage oil, but I'm turning it into a salve since that's just more convenient to handle. As soon as I've had enough of waiting for the oil, I started weighing out the other ingredients. The recipe is by weight, not volume, so get out those kitchen scales. Per 100 gram of oil, add 20 gram of beeswax and 20 gram of shea butter. Beeswax can be bought from your friendly neighborhood beekeeper, or if they're on holiday, you can buy it at the pharmacy. When I told the pharmacist I was making salve, she told me they have white beeswax, which is somehow cleaned. This is apparently used in the cosmetics industry because it doesn't change the color of the creams. I decided to push the boat out and get a bit of each. Normal yellow beeswax and the white stuff, just to try it out. I was curious. The beeswax comes in little pellets, and I got it pre-weighed so I can just dump it in. Now 20 gram of shea butter. The wax makes things stable, the shea butter makes them easily spreadable. And both are great for your skin. To combine the components, we'll need to heat them up in a water bath. I set the hob on a very low setting at first, which is ideal, but I ended up turning up the heat when I got a little impatient. As long as nothing boils, it'll be fine. Stir occasionally to make sure nothing sticks to the bottom. And prepare for the consistency test. For that, you'll need a plate that'll sit in the freezer for a few minutes. To buy shea butter, I first went to a chain Whole Foods store where 15 milliliter, which is about as much as will fit into one of those lip balm pots, cost €8. After seeing the price, I walked straight back out and went down to the African beauty supply store down the road, where I got this pot of 60 milliliter for $2.50. Moral of the story, support your local independent stores. For the test, drip a little bit of your salve mix onto the plate and let it cool. Since the plate was in the freezer, this should take literally seconds. Then apply the salve. If you like the consistency, fantastic. If it doesn't set right and remains liquid, add a little beeswax. If it is too stiff and won't spread right, add more shea butter. If you're adding anything, I'd start with half a teaspoon and try the salve again. You don't want to go too far the other way and create a problem in the opposite direction. That salve feels pretty spot on. Now get some clean jars. Opaque jars that protect the salve from sunlight are best, but I only have one of those, so I'm using glass and keep it in a dark spot. Label your jars with both the name and the date. The shea butter has a best before date on it, so I'm using that for the salve as well. I'll have about a year to use it up. While the first batch cools, I'm making the second lot into a salve. Oh, almost forgot that the salve cool without a top on so any water can escape. Shouldn't be much, but just in case. To get a nice smooth surface on the salve, which gives it kind of a professional look, move your jar as little as possible while it cools. That's a lesson I'll still have to learn. I'm making the second lot with yellow or untreated beeswax, so I can compare the final product and see if it's worth the extra cost. By the way, it wasn't. Once the salve has reached room temperature, you can put the lid on and it's ready to use. My mom tried it and she said it made her arms look 10 years younger. That's a pretty good endorsement. So that's St. John's wort salve. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not subscribe?